probably not the best angle, but I'm filming where I can film right now. So I'm going to answer the rest of my Q&A along with some video or some questions that I just most recently got on a Instagram post. So Aaron Amborski asked, was your husband always a Disney fan, or did you become one because you were such a huge fan? My husband wasn't a Disney fan at all before we went to Disney, and I mean, I still don't think that he's like a huge Disney fan, but he loves DisneyWorld for what it does for our family, how it makes me happy, how it makes the kids happy, how it gives us a place to vacation. You know, we spent a lot of our life, you know, having babies and raising babies and, you know, going through job loss and stuff like that. And for us, our first Disney trip was like the first time that we were back on our feet. And since then, it's been like our sacrifice that we make to be able to go there. But it's something that we all enjoy and love so much. And I'm so glad that we're able to do it now. And, you know, he's not like a huge fan. Like, he'll watch a movie, but like, you know, he likes, like, he'll see a hidden Mickey and point it out to me, or, you know, stuff like that. So, Sarah Carter asked, what part of Texas did I grow up in? And I answered her question anyways. But I was born in Houston. I lived in Spring for a little bit. I lived in the Woodlands for a little bit. And I lived in Tomball for a little bit between my mom and my dad, you know, moving around or whatever. And, like, I went to Stratford High School, which is in Memorial, Dairy Ashford area. And I liked it. But I don't think I could ever go back to living in a place like that where it's hot all the time. There's no seasons. Huge city. You know, I kind of like my small town in between two cities. I like my seasons. I don't love snow. But like I could handle a little bit of snow. I hate the amount of snow we get here. But, you know, I would like a place that has seasons and stuff. Someone asked, when are you doing Disney this year? In all honesty, we're unsure. We're hoping to go in April, but we want to make sure that we have enough saved, and we kind of want to fly now. We've been tossing things back at, you know, around. So, you know, originally we were going to go in April. We were going to drive, and we were going to do the cabins with just cabins and tickets, no dining plan. But, you know, the more and more we talked about it, the more and more we talked to the kids, part of the reason why the kids love Disney is the dining plan. And let me just say, dining plan does not work for everybody. We like to go on vacation and get a dessert with our meals because we don't ever get desserts when we normally go out. We like to go on vacation and let the kids have the bigger kids have a Sprite. Again, something they don't get here. We personally drink soda with our meals. My husband eats 3 to 4 meals a day, and you've seen my husband. My husband is a beanpole, but my husband burns a lot of calories. He's got a really good metabolism. So for us, the dining plan works, especially if we get the quick service plan where we have 12 meals a day between all of us, and where you can use adult meals for kids meals and stuff like that. So it's like, that was something that was important to them. And then we started thinking, you know, maybe we should fly, because, you know, when you factor in the fact that you have to take off an extra 2 days out of work, sometimes 3, you know, depending on how you drive, the fact that when you get there, you're kind of exhausted for a day or two, and then we have to kind of take a shorter trip this time because we need to get Trevor back to school, because I don't think his school is going to be as cool with me taking him out of school as they were last year. So, you know, all these factors. So it's like, we really think that we need to fly if we're doing it during the school year. If we're going to do it when the kids are out of school, like in August was the other time we were thinking, then we can drive and do stuff like that. So for now, we're going to go in either August or April. We're just unsure how it's going to work out. We want to make sure that we have plenty of spending money. We want to make sure that we have everything that we need, you know, to do it the right way. You know, we've gone to Disney now a couple times, and we like spending money there. We like souvenirs. We like all that stuff. So that's important to us, and we want to make sure that we have enough money to do so. So who knows when we're going to make up our mind. Obviously, we have to make up our mind soon if we're going in April, because that's in like 4 months. But yeah. So that's it on that one. So then the next questions are about the famous Instagram pictures you've seen over this past weekend of a new family member. So we added a new family member to our family this past weekend, and this wasn't just a quick over the night decision. It's something that I didn't talk about on my vlog channel because I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, if I was going to go through with it. You know, I needed some time to think. So we have adopted a dog, and he is just a real love. He's sitting on the couch right now, and you know, it's kind of hard having a dog again. I'm not going to lie. Backstory: when my husband and I bought our house, we bought our house in May like 5th, and we moved in Memorial Day weekend, and we were still in like construction mode. We ended up getting a dog around probably June, because we took him to July 4th, and he was a puppy. And we bought a puppy. We bought a German Shepherd puppy from a breeder. Well, he came kind of sick. He had some like, I guess common with dogs, like when they're crated all the time, like they eat their own like poop basically, and they can get sick. So he had that. He was the runt of the litter. He was the last one there, and you know, he definitely had some like training issues and stuff like that. And you know, we were going through the process of training him and all that stuff. And then I found out I was pregnant with Casey, which happened about 9 to 10 months earlier than we had planned on getting pregnant with Casey. So, you know, it was kind of hard having a dog again. And then Jeff lost his job. So it was really hard for us to even stay afloat, let alone, you know, take a dog to a vet, take a dog for training and stuff like that. And, I was trying to kind of like part-time work and do stuff here and there, like basically run errands for people and stuff like that. I was couponing a lot to be able to grocery shop and stuff. So I was out of the house, you know, here and there, and Max just could not handle it. He needed to be with someone at all times. He did not like being by himself. And, you know, we had a crate and we did use it, but I just hated using it with him. Like, I felt like he was always in his crate. You know, because I was always here and there and running out, and it was just hard. It was really, really hard. And so we made the decision, because we did have a new baby and my husband didn't really have a lot of money, that we were going to go through the Humane Society and see if they could find someone for him to take him. We said that we were going to keep him home until they could find someone for him. So they found a older woman who didn't have kids, and we felt that he needed a home where there wasn't kids, because he had some issues with, like, he was my husband's baby, and he had a lot of issues with just like understanding that he had to, you know, like give the kids a hug too when he came in the door, and you know, he had to do other things for the kids as well. So he had some issues with that. So we found an older woman. It was just her. She was very active. Like, she took hikes and stuff like that, and she was going to take him with her. And like, she put him in it was doggy daycare during the day, and he needed that because he wasn't great with other dogs at all. You know, he kept like getting out of our yard and stuff like that, and he killed one of my neighbor's chickens, and you know, we were upset with him, and my neighbor was really pissed with him, but it's like, that's their human nature. That's just, you know, them. So he ended up going to her, and I think he's living a fantastic life now. So we got rid of him about 5 years ago, and I had always said no more dogs, no more dogs, no more dogs, because it is a lot of work owning a dog. I especially said no puppies. I'm not doing a puppy thing again, because they're even more work. So Aubrey and Trevor have been asking for a dog for easily 2.5 years now. Every holiday they ask for one. Last year Aubrey said she was going to ask Santa for one. It's been a long road. So we started throwing around the idea around a year ago. And, you know, I told them, I said, look, guys, if we have to go on vacation, that's something we have to think about, because now the dog has to get boarded. That's expensive. That's a cost to add to the dog. I said, you know, in the summer, we can't just get up and go. If we're going to be gone all day, we have to find someone to come let the dog out and stuff like that. You know, it's a huge responsibility. I said, not to mention, mommy's not going to be the only one cleaning up the poop. Mommy's not going to be the only one walking the dog, etc. So we decided to go the foster route, and we knew that we wanted a dog less than 2 years old because we didn't want a puppy, but we also didn't want a dog that was older and was going to, you know, pass away soon or anything like that, because, you know, dogs don't have the longest life expectancy. So we found a rescue center that actually goes down to Florida and sometimes Arkansas and one other area, and they rescue dogs from kill shelters. Or they just go, I guess they have areas called like rock pits, and people will just go and leave dogs. So our dog came from Florida. He came from West Palm Beach County, and he wasn't like an abuse case or anything like that, and he actually wasn't even abandoned. He was just given to a shelter because the family could no longer take him or have him or whatever. He did have 2 kids that he came from. And I think they fostered him for like 3 to 4 weeks. And then they brought him up here. So when he flies up here, then he stays in quarantine for 2 days. And then he got to his foster family on Friday. And we got him on Sunday. Now, I'm not sure if he was here for a week and a couple days or just a couple days before we got him. So we put our name on the list for him. You know, this company, and this is kind of why I like them, they come out to your house and they evaluate your home, they evaluate your kids, they evaluate everything. They call your vet, they make sure that you're, you know, getting your animals up to date and stuff like that, and there's nothing like that. They really kind of research to make sure they're not just giving their dogs to anybody. So we went to Tractor Supply for an event to see him and a couple other dogs, and we got there, and I turned around the corner and I'm like, ooh, because he is a pit bull. He's a pit bull mix. And, you know, they have that look where you're like, oh, that's a pit bull. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, man. And then we saw another dog there was Bernie. So he was a plot hound mix or something. And I didn't even have my eyes on Bernie. And I sat down, and Bernie came right up to me and got in my lap and was loving on me. And he was very sweet. And the dog that we went to look at, Zimba, Z-I-M-B-A, was just kind of like standing on his own, very confident, tail up and wagging, and Bernie had his tail in between his legs. But Bernie was just so sweet and so much more calm. And that was a thing that I told Jeff, you know, I don't want to deal with German Shepherd hair again, because dealing with that kind of hair was a lot. Max was super jumpy. Max really didn't listen all that great to me. Max was very, very, very high energy. I would take that dog on a run in the morning, like a 3 to 4 mile run, come back, and he was still just full of piss and vinegar. Like, he just could not calm down. So, you know, I didn't want a super hyper dog. And, you know, we got there, and Zimba he kept jumping on the table, but he wasn't like jumping on us, and he wasn't like, ooh, like he was just kind of like moving at all times. But he was fantastic with other dogs. The foster mom had 5 other dogs, and he did great with them. He was fantastic with the dogs there, and they were dogs that he didn't even know. He was pulling a little bit on the leash, but not much. And the lady said that if he had a harness, she thought that he would be much better. So we hemmed and hawed a little bit. We went out to lunch, and then we decided that we were going to take him. So this place, they offer, it's like $3.75, but that gives him, he's up to date on his shots, he's vaccinated, he's microchipped, he's neutered or spayed, you know, depending on if you get a girl or boy. And I think that's everything. Oh, and he's got his rabies shot and, you know, all that stuff. So we ended up taking him home. He came home yesterday, and he immediately glued to me. He wants to be by my side at all times. He wants to be near me at all times. He doesn't want to leave. And we think that's because, you know, these women rescue him, because it's all women down in Florida. They rescue him, they foster them, and then they come up here, and he was actually with women up here. So he sees women as like a safe place, I think. But like, he won't leave my side. So it's been kind of hard on me, as like I like my space and my time. And then I said, you know, I don't want a dog in the bed. He is crate trained and housebroken. But I was trying to avoid that. But now that he's been here, we're going to get him a crate. We think that he would benefit from that. But, you know, he's done pretty well. He did mark a little bit in front of the door, because he hasn't barked yet. He won't bark. But he has marked a little bit in front of the door, but we're working on that. But then today, he went and marked on my bed. And I read, and they say, you know what, they say they really shouldn't be in your bed, because it kind of confuses them that you're alpha or they're alpha. So he's going to be out of our bed. And I didn't want a dog in my bed anyways, especially in the summer with like ticks and, you know, all that stuff. It's just not anything you want to deal with. So he's going to be out of our bed, but he's probably going to sleep maybe in a crate in our room for a little while. And he's doing pretty well. I've taken him on quite a few walks. He is a little bit higher energy than I wanted, but it could just be because everything's so new. I'm hoping he kind of learns our schedule and calms down a little bit. But, you know, I just kind of take him on walks when I take the kids, and he's doing pretty good in the snow, considering he's only seen snow for less than a week. He gets kind of jumpy on the couch, so we may have to teach him, you know, you can't be on the couch, buddy, if you're going to be bouncing around like that. He's pretty good. Like, he doesn't really like toys so far. He likes rubber things. He doesn't like ropes or dolls or anything like that. I took him to PetSmart, and he was amazing there. He was one of the best behaved dogs there. I was kind of shocked. But he does kind of pull on his leash, but we're working on that. But you know, it's going to be a little bit of time. But yeah, we have a dog, and no, I am not a huge animal person, but we want an animal that can be in the yard as a presence when the kids are there. That, you know, if anyone came in the yard or went to come in the yard, they'd be like, you know what, I don't really want to go in the yard with a dog there. You know, protection for me when I'm here all day by myself, and you know, stuff like that with the kids. And then the kids, of course, want that companion. They want that dog and everything like that. So he's here. You know, it's going to be some work. It's going to be an adjustment, getting everyone used to that. And you know, we've already spent like $100 at the pet stores the past few days, but you know, it's going to take us time to figure out what kind of toys he likes, you know, working on his food and training him with treats. And we're going to actually get him enrolled in like a PetSmart training clinic or something like that. My husband isn't a fan of those, but I think that it would do good for him just to help him work on that. You know, he does good with commands like sit and down and stuff like that, but he's not so good with like get off or stuff like that, or like he keeps going up to the counter, and that's the one thing that he's pretty bad with, is they must have fed him a lot from the table, because he'll sit and stare, drool at you. And so we're trying to teach him, no, you don't get our table food, you know, your food's in there, you're not going to stare at us and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it's something that we're working with, and I think that he'll do pretty well. I'll see if he'll come.
You should say what the dog's name
Simba,
is.
come. Oh, and his name is Zimba, but we switched it to Simba because it's kind of Disney. And then after we got him home, we actually noticed he has
It has a Mickey on his chest.
a hidden Mickey on his chest, which is kind of funny. Simba, come. Wanna come? Wanna come sit? Come here. Now that I'm not, if I get up, he'll move. Come on. Wanna come sit? Do you want a treat? And I will say too, you know, since we got him, we have kind of received some flack, mainly from like my parents and people like that. You know, my mom said you basically put a rattlesnake in the house and stuff like that. And yes, pit bulls can, you know, maul people to death. They have, but so can a lot of other breeds. And you know, dogs are only as dangerous as you make them. You know, it's completely the owner. You sit. Simba, sit. Good boy. Good boy. Really? But he, you know, they're only as bad as you make them. And it seems that he came from a family, and like we wouldn't have gotten him if he was a rescue or something like that from like a, you know, bad situation. We think that where he came from a family that we're pretty good with him. You know, he is kind of toothy a little bit, and you know, he does get on the furniture and stuff like that, but that's stuff that we can work through and get him a good bed and stuff like that. So that's my last Q&A for the month. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.